Hi, how are you? It's Dr. Moso. Today we want to talk about the Marshall Plan. What took place during this time of the introduction of the Marshall Plan? Here is our question. List any countries that benefited from the launch of the Marshall Plan in 1949. Which were the countries that benefited from the launch of the Marshall Plan in 1949? So these countries included Britain. We also had France, Italy, Belgium, Luxembourg. We also have got Australia, Greece, Turkey, Ireland, Norway, and West Germany. Any of these countries, if you give them, they are correct. So these are the correct answers of the countries that benefited from the launch, from the introduction, from the starting of the Marshall Plan in 1949. Let's move on and talk about number B. Describe any features, any six features that characterized the development of the Marshall Plan. What were any six features that characterized, that were composed in the Marshall Plan development during this particular period? So we see that in June 1947, the American Secretary of State George Marshall, who was responsible for this Marshall Plan, he produced his European Recovery Program. The European Recovery Program is a follow-up of Truman's Recovery Program, and we see that the introduction of this so-called European Recovery Program now led to so many developments that culminated to the Marshall Plan. We also see that the USA, it also released massive financial support to war-damaged Central and Eastern European countries to the tune of US 13 billion. So 13 billion now was released during this particular period of time. Britain, France, Belgium, Netherlands, Turkey, Greece, and many other countries, they benefited from the introduction of the Marshall Plan. They benefited from the introduction of this plan. USA also assisted European powers to plan their economies. We also see that USA, it moved a step further, and it had also to assist other European powers to plan their economies, to improve their economies. We also see that USA also opened great opportunities with Central and also Eastern Europe. So many opportunities were created for the countries that were in Central and also East Europe. The USSR, we're talking about Russia, rejected this offer. It rejected the offer, calling it a dollar imperialization or dollar imperialism, and it referred to it as an American design. It was seen by USSR, it was seen by Russia as a or as an American design meant to control Western Europe and interfering in Eastern Europe, considering to be a brainchild, considered this idea coming from what USA. So USSR, Russia, it saw this program as a way by USA, as a way by America to try to dominate countries in Europe. Which are these countries in Europe? Those countries that were in West Europe and also the countries that were in Eastward Europe. So Russia had to denounce. It was seen by Russia as a dollar imperialism. It was rejected by Russia because they thought that USA or America wanted to dominate the countries in East and also in Western Europe. We also see that USSR, we are talking about Russia, satellite states, they were also forced to reject the aid. For example, Czechoslovakia. Czechoslovakia, we see that it was a satellite of Russia. it was also told to reject this Marshall Plan. So those countries that were aligned to Russia, those countries that supported Russia, some of them now that included Czechoslovakia, they had to reject the Marshall Plan. The Marshall Plan that had been introduced, that was the brainchild of the American Secretary of State, George Marshall. So these are some of the events, these are some of the features that we talk about in the development of the Marshall Plan. What culminated, what led, what made this Marshall Plan to start? What happened when the Marshall Plan started? And we now talk about the acceptance and also the rejection of the Marshall Plan. Which countries rejected? USSR, that is Russia, with the satellite states. So that is what we have on this question on the benefits of the Marshall Plan and also the features that characterized the formation, the starting of the Marshall Plan. Thank you so much. It's Dr. Muso.